Hey peoples, this is another movie review of The Report. As always, I want to say thank you for listening, that really means a lot to me, and on to the review. So The Report is about FBI agent Daniel Jones, played by the amazing Adam Driver, and the movie is about him performing an investigation into the CIA's use of torture on suspected terrorists. And this is during the aftermath of 9/11, where the CIA adopted some new interrogating techniques for supposed terrorists. And that's the movie. So mostly I felt bad for this movie because all in all it's a solid movie, but the problem is it has one major flaw, and that major flaw affects everything else in the movie, and that flaw is that it has no energy. It has no energy, no flair, nothing of that nature, because if it did, this movie would be huge, but it's not because it doesn't have that spark. This movie's in the same vein as The Big Short or Vice, and maybe even Wolf of Wall Street, where the movie dives into giant corporations or giant entities or a whole segment of companies and tells you their dirty secrets. The thing is that the movies that I just mentioned have a certain spark and energy to them, and that's mostly because of the characters, the way it's directed, and the creativity they bring on the screen. This movie does not have that spark, and it's very disappointing because the actual information is very engaging and it's astounding at what people did and what went on in our own government. But the problem is that it's a lot of information. I will say that all of the information given is necessary because I'm sure that the directors or writers of this film wanted to cover everything that went on, which is great. But when you have so much information shoved at people, you have to present it in a more creative way. I understand that you have to follow the story as it truly happened, but there are many other creative techniques to make it more digestible for the audience to grab onto and to understand. If all you're throwing at people is information, it's going to feel more like homework than an actual movie. But like I said, the information that they share in this movie is mind-blowing. And I think it's even more fascinating because all of this comes from a place of fear, which the movie does mention that. The CIA does absolutely horrible things to people in this movie, and it all comes from a place of fear. After 9/11, some people were scared to walk outside because they feared what could possibly happen to them. So when that's on the forefront of someone's mind, their morals basically disappear because they're scared. And I really like that the movie addressed that. Another thing that might turn people off of this movie is the violence. The violence is presented in a very harsh, gritty way, and I understand what the movie was trying to get across. It's trying to impact the viewer, which it does, but there might be a point where you're trying to impact the viewer so much with how gritty and raw everything is that you actually turn them off. But moving on, everything else in the movie is pretty positive. Everyone does a great job at acting. Adam Driver is fantastic. Like, he is just, love this guy. It's his mannerisms, the way he talks, his little stutters, how he will interrupt himself in the middle of his own sentence. The way he delivers his dialogue is my favorite part of this whole film. Also, the directing is good. I like when they switch back to the past, you have that color difference. And also, I think it feeds into the darkness of the past and what was going on and what they were doing because it kind of has this darkest brown tint over it. And I think that helps when it comes to the violent scenes and kind of the grittiness that the movie was trying to get across. Now, I will say, at first, when they went to the past, that felt kind of rough because when the movie starts, you're with Adam Driver. Here's our main character. Here's our window into this whole world. Then when you cut to the past, you're with a whole new set of people, so the audience has to readjust. They're like, okay, so who am I paying attention to? Who is the main focus? Who are these people? I think maybe it would have served the movie first to start with the past and then maybe cut to the present and show Adam Driver. I'm not sure if that would have worked, but when they first went to the past, it was a little rough for me. But that's pretty much it. Like I said, the acting and the directing, everything is solid. Everything is good in this film. The information in this movie is fascinating. It will intrigue you. It will turn you off. It'll make you feel sad. It'll make you feel sick. And it might even entice you to look up even more information about it. All of that is great. The only problem is the way it's presented. So for an entertainment value, I wouldn't suggest watching this. It just doesn't have that flair that I think will engage the audience. But if you want to learn some new information about our government and how messed up they are sometimes, and see some amazing acting by Adam Driver, then yes, watch this movie. But that's all, peoples. As always, thank you for listening. Thank you for subscribing. Thank you for thumbsing up, liking, retweeting, all those things you do. I really appreciate it. Please continue to have a great day. God bless. I'll talk to you later.